The laughter was loud, the wine was flowing, and the scent of roasted garlic and rosemary filled the warm glow of our dining room. Our annual Friendsgiving dinner was something I looked forward to every year. My husband, Daniel, stood at the head of the table carving the turkey while my best friend, Lila, passed out plates with her signature sparkle. We'd been best friends since college, the kind of women who finished each other's sentences and held each other through heartbreaks. And for the past 7 years, Daniel and I had built what I thought was a steady, warm, unshakable marriage. We had our ups and downs, sure, but nothing unusual. We had a rhythm, a home, and plans for the future. But something was different that night. I noticed it when Lila laughed just a little too hard at Daniel's jokes, or how he filled her glass before mine. I caught their eyes locking more than once. Subtle, but undeniable. It was the way she touched his arm when she passed the gravy. The way he leaned closer when she spoke. My stomach churned, but I forced a smile and said nothing. The real blow came 2 weeks later. It was raining. I remember that because Daniel always said he loved the sound of rain against our bedroom window. That night, he came home late. He didn't smell like the office. He didn't look me in the eye. When I asked him where he'd been, he hesitated. Then finally, he said it. "I think I need some space, Marin." Marin. That's me. 35 years old, former marketing executive turned freelance designer, wife of 7 years, and apparently now, an obstacle. Space? What does that mean, Daniel? He looked down, then away. I haven't been happy. For a while. I didn't want to hurt you, but I can't keep living a lie. I asked him directly. Is there someone else? He didn't answer, but the silence was louder than a confession. My heart cracked open. 3 days later, I found out who. Lila. My best friend. My maid of honor. My sister by choice. I discovered it in the most humiliating way, through a friend who had seen them together at a vineyard upstate. They weren't hiding it, Marin. They looked like a couple. I wanted to scream. But instead, I collapsed onto the kitchen floor and sobbed. Then, something inside me hardened. I wasn't going to cry anymore. If Lila could steal my husband, I would take something far more precious from her. Her family. Lila had something I didn't, a picture-perfect family. Her parents adored her, her younger sister Claire saw her as a role model, and her husband, yes, husband, James, was the golden boy she had married at 23 and supposedly divorced 5 years later. Supposedly. What most people didn't know, what even Lila didn't know, was that James and I had crossed paths at a charity gala 6 months ago. We hit it off immediately, shared drinks, memories, laughs. At the time, I thought it was just a harmless connection. But now, it felt like fate handing me a weapon. I reached out to him again, carefully, casually. James, it's Marin. You remember that gala at the Westin? I'd love to meet for coffee. Just catch up. He replied within minutes. The meeting was smooth. He looked better than I remembered. Tall, sharp, still carrying that wounded pride from Lila walking out on him 5 years ago. I let the conversation flow naturally before dropping the bomb. You know she's seeing my husband now, right? His eyes darkened. Daniel? That guy she always said was too dull for you? I nodded. They started seeing each other before my marriage even ended. I didn't need to ask for his help. He offered it. Let me guess, you want her to pay. I smiled. I want her to feel what betrayal tastes like. We formed a plan. A slow, strategic unraveling. First step, Lila's sister Claire. Young, naive, and fiercely loyal to Lila. But she'd always admired me. I invited her to lunch, told her the truth in soft, sad tones. Showed her the texts between Daniel and Lila. The receipts. The timeline. Claire cried. I can't believe she did this to you. After everything. People show their true selves when they think no one is watching, I said. Claire promised she wouldn't tell Lila she knew. I believed her. Because the pain in her eyes was real. Next, her parents. I waited until the annual family Christmas gathering. The one I used to attend when Lila and I were inseparable. I sent her parents a letter. Handwritten. Elegant. Honest. I loved your daughter like a sister. But she betrayed me in a way I never imagined. With Daniel. My husband. I thought you deserved to know. No reply came. But I later learned they called Lila the next morning. Her mother was in tears. Her father stopped speaking to her. And as for James? That was still in motion. Because he and I had more in common now. More late-night texts. More confessions. More plans. Lila took my husband. I was about to take her past, her present, and her future. The fallout began faster than I anticipated. Natalie thought she had taken everything from me, my marriage, my home, my peace. But she never imagined I'd walk away from it all without looking back, stronger than she'd ever seen me. A week after the reveal, my lawyer submitted the final divorce settlement. With the proof of Daniel and Natalie's affair, combined with financial evidence of Daniel's mismanagement of our shared assets, the judgment came down hard. I kept the house, the lake property, and our investment portfolio. Daniel was left with his personal car and some basic savings. He moved into a small apartment across town. The same one Natalie had once laughed at when her intern used to live there. The irony was thick. But this wasn't about him anymore. It was about her. Natalie's parents were the next to pull away. After the dinner I orchestrated with her brother Jamie, her father had called me. We don't know what happened to her, he'd said quietly. But we're ashamed. You were like a daughter to us. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. At Sunday brunch the next week, the one I used to attend with Daniel and Natalie's family, her mother invited me herself. Natalie hadn't been invited. She's not welcome until she owns up to what she's done, her mother said softly as she placed a gentle hand over mine. I simply smiled. And then Jamie called. He wanted to meet. We met at a quiet park we used to frequent during college years. Jamie paced nervously before speaking. I just want you to know, I confronted her. I told her how disappointed I was. How disgusting it was to watch her act like she deserved your life. I stayed silent. He continued. And she said you were manipulating all of us. That you've turned the family against her. I gave him a long look. Do you feel manipulated? No, he admitted. I feel grateful. That you didn't burn it all down. That you gave us a chance to choose sides quietly. I exhaled slowly. You know, I used to believe blood was thicker than anything. Now I believe it's the truth that binds people. And Jamie nodded. Truth and loyalty. That's what you gave us. Meanwhile, Natalie and Daniel's relationship started to rot. Rumors spread that Daniel was job hopping again. That he was drinking more. That Natalie had started skipping work. One day, I received a message from an unknown number. Are you happy now? No name. But I knew. I didn't reply. Instead, I booked a dinner reservation. With Jamie and his fiancée. With Natalie's parents. With my own sister. No lies. No gossip. Just warmth. Natalie had tried to steal my life. But she didn't understand one thing: love, real love, can't be taken. It's earned. She took my husband. So I took her place. But I did it with grace. Natalie's breakdown over the phone wasn't satisfying, it was pathetic. She had always played the victim when the consequences caught up with her. But this time, the people she hurt weren't just names on a gossip list. They were her own blood. And she'd handed me every piece I needed to dismantle her world. Daniel tried again. 3 days after our last conversation, he showed up at my office unannounced. My assistant was about to send him away when I told her to let him in. He looked even worse than before, like guilt and insomnia were now his only companions. I just want to talk, he said, taking the chair across from me. You've been doing a lot of that lately. But nothing worth hearing. I ended it with Natalie. I nodded. You want a medal? He winced. I know I messed up, he continued. But what we had, it was real. You and me. I lost myself for a while. I leaned forward. You didn't lose yourself, Daniel. You finally showed who you were when no one was watching. He started to cry. Real tears. A part of me, some deeply buried fragment, ached for the man I had once loved. But I didn't reach for it. I couldn't. Tell me what you want, he asked. I already have it, I said, standing. And it was true. The final strike came a week later. Jamie, Natalie's younger brother, had taken a long time to respond after dinner. But when he did, it was seismic. He asked me to speak at his engagement party. You've always been more of a sister to me than she has, he said over the phone. I agreed. And the night of the party, when I took the mic, I spoke about loyalty. About family. About knowing who has your back even when it hurts. I never said her name. But every word I spoke was a knife under her ribs. Natalie didn't attend. Her mother and father did, though. They hugged me longer than necessary. Her father whispered, "We're sorry." Her mother simply cried. I ran into Natalie again 2 weeks later. At the pharmacy, of all places. She looked thinner. Hollow. "Are you happy now?" she asked, no venom left in her voice. "No," I answered truthfully. "But I'm free. And that's better." She nodded slowly, then walked away. People often think revenge is about shouting, slamming doors, getting even with drama. But I've learned something more powerful. Revenge is silence. It's composure. It's watching the people who underestimated you realize they built their castles on sand. Natalie took my husband. I took her identity, as the favorite sister, the trusted daughter, the loved aunt, the admired friend. And I didn't do it with lies. I did it with truth. Exposed in light. Sometimes the best revenge is simply letting people see who someone really is. And when you do it with your head high and your heart intact, they never see it coming.